the facts speak for themselves. In certain matters from other countries, we had been receiving excellent cooperation, and the people have been deported, especially the person of Indian origin. If he is if he has committed terrorist acts in India, or if he has run the terrorist activities outside India, which have been affecting India, we have been receiving excellent cooperation from different countries, and people have been deported. And I mean, we can make out from their conduct that the cooperation is not forthcoming. But it's a continuous process, and we have been making our efforts. When I was in service, when I was heading NIA, we had been regularly meeting these people, providing them all the details. Whenever there is any query, we'll answer that and provide whatever details we have. But we always believe that they have their own interest, maybe political, but proprietary always demanded that these type of hardened terrorists should be handed over to the country to which they belong, to which they are affecting. So we always expected that our efforts would bring fruit, but unfortunately we have not been successful till now, that such a hardcore terrorist has not been handed over to India.
Yeah, that's a big admission you are making, sir, that when you were there and the kind of information you shared, the kind of cooperation that should have come from Canada, which according to you, came from other jurisdictions, was not forthcoming. And in fact, there was an element of political decision making in something which was purely terror and crime related. On that note, my last question to Mr. Chelani before we wrap up this conversation, sir. How do things go forward from here? Is it going to be absolutely downhill, or it can still be salvaged? And if yes, in what manner and how?
The ball is in the Canadian court now, because it's Canada that has marred the relationship with India by leveling allegations and providing nothing in support of the allegations. And to make matters worse, Trudeau has repeated the same allegations 3 times already. In other words, he has directly contributed to the worsening bilateral relationship with India. The irony is that Canada already has marred its relationship with many other countries in the global south, with China, with countries in Africa. Now its relationship with the world's largest democracy has been badly mauled thanks to Trudeau. The fact is that today, the Khalistan movement may be dead in India, but it's alive and kicking in certain small sections of the Sikh diaspora. And Canada has become the international headquarters of the Khalistan movement. Especially Canada's British Columbia province is the base of operations of hardcore Khalistanis that are promoting or glorifying terrorism. And India has rightly now identified Canada for the first time as a safe haven for terrorism, as an international terrorist sanctuary. And as a consequence of that, India has suspended new visas for Canadians and directed the Canadian government to downsize its diplomatic staff in India. And again, as part of the same exercise, as you pointed out at the beginning of your newscast, that India is now confiscating the properties of Canada-based terrorists in Punjab. Their properties in Punjab are being confiscated, and I think all these steps are necessary, because what has happened in a way, which unintended consequence of Trudeau's allegations against India, is that now there is spotlight on Canada's sanctuary for transnational terrorists. And I think in a way that's good for India, because now the heat is on Canada as to how it's become a safe haven for various kinds of terrorists and extremists.
Right, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Chelani, and of course, Mr. YC Modi, the former DG of NIA, making that big revelation that while he was helming it, cooperation from the Canadian side was not forthcoming, like in case of other jurisdictions, and that there was an element of political decision-making whenever it came to sharing information on these Khalistani terrorists from Canadian soil, active from Canadian soil. On that note, thank you so much, both Mr. Chelani and Mr. Modi, for joining us in this conversation. We slip into a short break. On the other side, live and breaking continues.